celebration of this woman half my age who is so self-actualized and confident and beautiful, and she was a dancer, and she could move so beautifully. And my awkwardness with self and nudity and all the baggage that's attached to it. And so it's sort of an essay on the clumsiness of interpersonal relationships. My own
the right places to form the void of the body, what his work really expresses is just freedom and flight and movement. And you can really, really see it. It's not a stiff painting. It's not a like if you think of a lot of Michelangelo's work, they're all like so rigid. It looks like they can't even move their muscles anymore. You know, like. But this is such a free painting, and that's what I really, as an artist and as a curator, I appreciate about this because it just flows. And the colors.
And it's from a black and white digital photo that I took with him. The head gives a structure that it's going to be recognizable almost no matter what I do. So that was very useful in making these paintings. And I did a number of paintings with this kind of idea. Some of them get much more worked up. The surface gets more covered with smaller marks. These two, you can see more of the initial stages of the painting. So the paintings start out like this, totally abstract. They look like Mark Tobey paintings, but there's a naivete about color. I take color straight out of the jar, and then I try to respond to that as I continue looking at the structure of the face. I try to deal with what I did or did not do in the initial marks. And as I go along, I switch to a smaller brush. These are acrylic. I'm not blending, so it's all marks of paint layered over one another. When they
blends them together.
Yeah, when you get a small brush, you just layer all these tiny marks over one another, and they start to cohere. And they start out very loose. It's like gestural abstraction, and the more resolved parts are much more kind of Renaissance-like, or like Paul Cadmus painting. And I'm kind of interested in that idea of kind of putting those multiple modes of working together. It keeps me interested. It's a little weird. I'm not really doing portraits right now. These are 5 years old, I think, these pieces. And I'm doing other kinds of things with other images now. But it's still the same idea of marks maintaining themselves. Marks that have a very definitive presence, indicating a transient kind of light or energy of some sort. So, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm interested in and what I've been doing. So,
thank you.
Thanks for having me.
For many decades, actually, I was a sculptor and a performance and installation artist doing very large pieces around religious themes, particularly ritual in our life, power and necessity of ritual, and the power of costume to transform people from ordinary people into sort of an intermediary between the divine and the everyday. And about 8 years ago, I was in between exhibitions and looking for a diversion, and I saw a book of erotic nude photographs from the 1800s, and decided for fun to do a setup in my studio and take some pictures. And I fell in love with the process and with the images. And originally I was interested in simply making beautiful, what I thought at the time of being erotic portraits. And I put up a website, and people very quickly from all over the world found me and started offering to pose. People flew in from Europe, from Eastern Europe to this one model came from the Ukraine to pose for me at her own expense. And at first, I just used found props and things I found in thrift shops and whatever. But I wanted to get more elaborate, and since my background had been in making costumes and sets and for my other work, I started making my own jewelry and costumes and doing very elaborate sets and props and furnishings and posing people in them, and it quickly became like a performance work again, and people.
They're very theatrical.
Yeah, they're very theatrical, but and religious, kind of the religious influence crept back in. They sort of became icons, and in this day and age where people are interested in avatars identity, personal identity, and people wanted to come and dress up and become someone else, see themselves as something else, and so people continue to come from all over. And the influences are, I mean, these particular costumes look very kind of burlesque, but I spent years. But I've always looked a lot at the Byzantine art, and also I traveled a lot in Asia, and it's these two costumes actually were directly inspired by Indian icons of goddesses, and their outfits. So there's a very eclectic mix of inspirations.
Okay, so thank you so much, Michael. We appreciate it. There's work a little bit. How about that? We're gonna put her on the spot since she came in, So go ahead, Natalie.
So my mother and I are both sculptors, and we often meet in Northern California and do a residency together where we cast bronze and glass. So these are, she started out doing bronze casting, and then we learned together how to do the glass casting. And so these are two different colors here, and their torso is called interlude. She does primarily figurative work.
Thank you, Natalie. And I want to thank everybody, most importantly, for bearing with the heat in here. So let's all run outside and get some air.